Welcome, everyone. My name is Jonathan, and I'm the technical director for this reading. And I'd like to introduce you to our host, Larissa Shmailo. Larissa is the author of 6 collections of poetry, 2 novels, a writing workbook, and 2 poetry CDs, and is the editor of 3 anthologies. She is the original English translator of the avant-garde opera Victory Over the Sun and leads the Writing Resilience workshops. Larissa? Larissa, you should be able to unmute yourself.
All right, I'm now unmuted. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining Sustained Resistance, Our Resilience, and for sharing your courage and creativity today. We invoked sustained resistance and resilience because we have a long and arduous battle ahead of us, one which we, despite the events of the past few days, are committed to fighting peacefully. Peacefulness does not mean passionless, nor complacency, nor does it mean we are not angered by the fascism that has exploded in our midst. We fight with our words, and even those poems that are not overtly political are subversive, as all good art is. With our words, we incite to action. We channel our rage into haiku, villanelle sonnets, and the full range of free verse. And just for today, we are the scene legislators of the world. Thanks again for being here today. Thanks to the members of the Writing Resilience Workshop for organizing this reading. Sign up for the open mic in the chat after all the features reading have read so we don't lose your name in the chat. Without further ado, I will read a poem. Lager, NYC. You volunteer, Reichsgeboren. You choose to be here. Select. You volunteer. You know the difference between cause and effect. The people on the street are too stupid to have homes, too filthy to wash. See them root through the garbage, nicht essen aber fressen, nie jesters rat. They deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. Select. Concentrate. See the dark people sitting in the cells. They deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. And the woman of the Frauenblock, the Fräulein triple X, control her, detain her, pick her up, select. Cause and effect. You know which is which. Select. You volunteer. We see you on the job where you whisper half of what you think and none of what you feel. See the clock. The digital tattoo says, run now, rush to the train, the transport. Who cares who gets in? Who cares who gets out? Push into the car, the transport. Who cares who gets home? Who cares who gets shot? Arbeit macht frei. You choose this, you choose, select. Hey, you volunteer. We find ourselves together in the subway, the Grand Case Central. Here in Case, your face is not a face, ni лицо морда. Your face is not a face, but a snout. We don't eat here, we devour. Nicht essen, aber fressen, nie jest es rat. We don't give an inch, and we don't give a damn. Only weaklings fall to the tracks. God knows the difference between cause and effect. The selection is over. Look how it happened that you fell. You choose this. You choose this. Select. Thank you. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce our technical director for this reading, Jonathan Penton. Jonathan is the founder and editor of Unlikely Stories and the technical director of the New Orleans Poetry Festival. Go ahead, Jonathan. Let's hear you now.
Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, everyone. My trans daughter killed herself in October of 2023. Her body was political, her death was political, and I'd like to read two poems about my experience with that. They're both ekphrastic poems, and this is called The Drummer. But the truth is, you were dead before you began. Perhaps that does not matter. After all, are brave. You march, but lead no one to share your fate. So far, anyway. So far as we know. There is so much texture in the death of everyone, and yours does not lack for unknowable nuance. Still, you fit in a change purse. Still, you fit in a locket on a strange woman's neck, like the lies my suicidal grandfather told. Your coffee is not biodegradable, but safely conservadox. Your body weighs so little, but takes up so much space. This is called The Labors of Alexander. So this is how it ends. An axe, a stump, an insufficient severance. This is what we do now. We wander through classics and cliches, looking for solace, seeking worthy memories, hoping for some kind of ending, hoping to get what we need. This is the essence of need, forgetfulness, dysphoria. This is the oak that we cannot break. These are the patterns we will not remember. I have walked my 1,000 miles. I am weary. I will put my pen down before I walk 1,000 more. I have learned there are no happy endings. Fortunately, there are no sad ones either. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce Bill Yarrow. Bill Yarrow is a retired professor of English who has published 13 books of poetry. Take it away, Bill.
Thank you, Larissa. Hi, everybody. I'm going to read two short poems. This one is called Ways of Seeing Karachi. I've become interested in Karachi, Ludovico Karachi, Bolognese contemporary of Shakespeare, early Baroque artist, cousin of Agostino and Annibale, whose 1612 painting, Body of Saint Sebastian thrown into the Cloaca Maxima, is a masterpiece of the frozen moment. Sebastian is limp in a sheet supported by muscular soldiers. His hands hang down. His eyes are shut. Is he asleep? More likely unconscious. After all, he is about to be thrown into the great sewer of Rome. Unless one rotates the image, then he becomes beautifully vertical, his dreaming body like a sleeping bird floating in warm, soft air. Then the closed fists and flexed forearms of the executioners are seen impotently attempting to hold him down, but nothing human can prevent his rise. And this one is called I Am Not a Corpse. A corpse cannot cry. A man who cannot cry is a corpse. I am not a corpse, alas. If I were, I'd be in a suit. If I were, I'd be the main event, the center of attention. All the vultures would be my friends. All the grubs would love me. I'd be in touch with dirt, the slime divine, the slutty mud, the lovely muck, or something a little more incendiary, a mite more vital, robust, fume-inducing. Back to my thesis. A corpse cannot cry. The tear ducts are bankrupt in death. There's a haughtiness that sets in, that sees in raw emotion its sour atavar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill. Next, we have Jerome Sala. Jerome's latest book is Glop, just out from Blaze Fox Books. Take it away, Jerome.
Hi, this first poem is kind of a documentary poem. The administration had just given a very angry speech on TV, and I want to see the way local news commented on it. So when I turned on the TV, this is what I heard. So this poem is called After the President's Speech. After the President's Speech. A pink poodle named Molly jumped into the Passaic River. She was rescued by emergency workers who had not yet been cut. I added had not yet been cut, but the rest was right out of the news. Next one's called Recipe for Disaster. Have you noticed that crudité sounds a little like coup d'etat? If it is true, as the philosophers say, that even when we lie to ourselves, our language tells the truth, perhaps the reason we're not so worried about a coup d'etat is that it seems like a snack you eat before the dinner of democracy, whereas the people who throw the coup d'etat think of it as the whole meal. And the last poem's called The Authoritarian Century. Has this aphorism from Hegel, the owl of Minerva flies only at dusk. And I was thinking here of how when the new authoritarianism took over, people were shocked. They were denying it. They were still talking about neoliberalism when things had changed. So this is just about that shock. The Authoritarian Century. The owl of Minerva flies only at dusk, Hegel. When it happened, people were saying it hadn't. Now that it's easing up, they're saying that it has. We must forgive the owl, Minerva, and history itself for arriving late to the catastrophe. It takes time to realize you've been hit in the head with a bat. At first, you just see flashbulbs. Or when you awaken from a blackout or when you're in a car wreck, you awaken from a blackout that followed a wild brightness. You see broken glass and hear cries. They shine a light in the window saying, "This one's dead, leave him for later." You shout, "No, no, I'm alive." And you start to remember your name. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerome. I am delighted to introduce Elaine Equi. Elaine Equi's latest book is Out of the Black from Coffee House Press. Take it away, Elaine.
Thank you so much, Larissa. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. So I'm going to read 3 poems. The first one is by Nicanor Parra, the Chilean poet. I find that his sense of absurdity and outrageousness fits well with our moment. So this is called Watch Out for the Gospel of the Times. Watch out for the gospel of the times. He who speaks doesn't know. The Chinese sage keeps silent. More than 3 strokes of the pen is master page-shin. 2 parallel lines that always intersect create a perfect marriage. A river that flows against its own current never arrives at a happy end. Everything is permitted. Absolute freedom of movement. That is, without leaving the cage. 2 + 2 doesn't make 4. Once it made 4, but today nothing is known in this regard. And then I have 2 poems about the future that are mine. This is called Big Globs of the Future. Big globs of the future are hanging over us, are washing the mountains clean away, freezing and melting and blooming. Where will we be 100 years from now? Standing around like garden gnomes, eating snow cones, or still rushing off to meet the blind date of our demise? And then one last one, also about the future, is called Writing is Remembering. Writing is remembering, but not remembering the past. It is remembering the future. How do you know a word is right? When you know it is. It feels right, but why? Is it because you've already written it and are presently recalling? Yes, it belongs there. I know that buried somewhere, there is a sweet suite of poems with my name on it, in a basement or an attic, in a box under a heap of rubbish, in a basket in a corner of a cafe. It is a musical composition using the stars in a night sky as notes. I remember peering, perhaps even with a telescope, through dark, clotted clouds. The trees, the birds, the wind, all speaking a foreign language, my pen moving quickly. I hope one day, if I wait long enough, I'm able to read what I wrote. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Wonderful. I'm very pleased to introduce Irina Mashinsky. Irina is the author of The Naked World, A Tale with Verse, Mad Hat Press 2022, and Chernata, Chervena Barva Press 2022, as well as 13 volumes of poetry, prose, and essays in Russian. Take it away, Irishka.
Hello, everyone, and Larissa and Jonathan, thank you so much for having me, for inviting me. As all of you know, the Ukrainian city of Kherson and the Dnieper River it stands on have been on the front line for much of the time since the war began in 2022. Ukraine is on the right bank to the west, and the territory occupied by Russia and Russia proper on the left bank towards east. And as many of you know, perhaps because of the so-called Coriolis effect, the right bank of many rivers in the Northern Hemisphere especially is very steep, is a cliff, especially if it's made of a resilient hard rock. There is also a reference to the color orange, the color of the Orange Revolution. I'll read one poem first in my English translation, and then, if I may, in the original Russian. The Dnipro at Kherson, 2022. From a river's point of view, when it flows north to south, what's right is left. The huge meadow on the left is flat, often flooded, east, scornful of borders. Those who live there forget all pain and, done with living, move right into the grass. Floodplains, backwaters, swamps, and slimy benthic clays, flakes of unfolding lumps of ash, about to float, but sink to the riverbed. The right bank is a rock. The cliff's unyielding sandstone, orange quartz, sunny or not, each morning catches fire and burns. And if I may, I'll read the same text in the original Russian. Днепр у Херсона. С точки зрения реки, убегающей к югу, то, что справа, то слева. По левую руку полог, луг огромный, то и дело в воде, не знающий края, восток. Там живущие боли не помнят, и отжив переходят в траву. Пойма, затоны и топи, и придонная скользкая глина. Пепел. Хлопья расправляют комки, но поплыв, оседают на дно. Правый берег — скала. Неуступчив песчаник откоса. Кварц. Есть ли солнце или нет, каждым утром оранжев горит. Thank you again.
Спасибо, дорогая Ирочка. Thank you, Irina. All right, I'm delighted to introduce Patricia Spears Jones. Former New York State Poet Laureate Patricia Spears Jones is author of The Beloved Community and 10 other poetry collections. She lives in Bed-Stuy. Take it away, Patricia.
Hi, everybody. This is an amazing gathering. Thank you, Larissa and Jonathan and everybody. I'm going to read a couple of poems from The Beloved Community. One that I rarely read, but in these days it seems appropriate. Adornment. Red cap, red scarf, red balloon. A phalanx of protesters, a quarrel, a militia off camera, geared up, prepared to muster the musk of daily incivility, a roar of past coincidences, blood's smell, men's bodies, the red cap of their hearts salutes an October day, plush beauty. Can you smell the apples? This fact of harvest on the round globe, claiming our heart's desire to live more than 18 years or whatever year it was the bullets took. St. Louis, Hong Kong, Mexico City, wherever the young demand their future, a boy stands wearing a red cap in the rain, in the heat, observing the phalanxes coming down from the high rises, up from the basements, out of the dormitories, onto the streets. And all of us know that, just thinking about Arena and others, we always have behind us so many people who have encountered the horrors and terrors of authoritarianism and fascism and other isms, including American imperialism. On the death of Claribel Alegria, 1924 2018. And also, this is dedicated to all poets. On earth, she marked her days with rage and love, and fought the generals and their army of thieves and torturers. Her pen was mighty, so also their arms. Death is the shadow twin, the one remaining in the foothills by the back door in a convent off a mountainside. And yet a mother's breast awaits her infant's mouth. A rooster crows, and children gather what food there is, while bells ring across the foothills when the soldiers leave. A music of hope, even as another child is buried and a landmine erupts a few kilometers from hospital. We live in a time of suffering in places of beauty, where the water and air meet in mountains dark soiled. Food grows effortlessly, and so does greed. We live in a time of suffering in places of beauty, where yesterday's rebel is today's president, and greed cowers the hurt children who hunger not only for their mother's milk, but a safe place where peace storms the land with smiles and the tender removal of all aspects of war. A phantasm of peace, a peace unlike the other ones, negotiated and then neglected. Thus, military rifles, handguns, machetes, bowie knives, unexploded landmines, all made so that peace will end and terror return. What you hear is the sea. The heavy waves come in, go out. Stars pattern. Orion's belt? Or is that his heel? And then another woman of letters departs. Will she step on Orion's heel? Would she say, "Excuse me, I did not see your heel"? Would she try to hide her error as her celestial garments drag across the night sky? What if Orion could speak? And if he did, would he say, "All the poets love my heel or my belt"? You're not the first to seek an anchor here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. Jonathan, is Alfred Korn here?
There's an Alcy who I believe is he. Let's see here.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm here.
I'm delighted to introduce Alfred Korn. Alfred Korn's collection of short stories titled Hosts will appear with Mad Hat Press this fall. Take it away, Alfred.
Thank you, Larissa. We're in the month of September, and I want to say that this first poem is prompted by Auden's great poem, September 1st, 1939, but my date is different, and it's also the title. January 20th, 25. I sit here glued to CNN, certainly afraid, as I watch a prop plane slide across the screen, spraying pink fire retardant over the hills of Pacific Palisades. Will this really make nothing happen? Today, in the US Capitol, a repeat offender perjured his oath, flanked by the plumply smug ignobles of money that their money won't ever say is enough, no matter how many zeros the billions annex. A year of shelling, slaughter, torture, engineered famine, banned from cable, but live streamed to a sickened public from handheld cell phones under bombing. Which is more rabid, the felon's cult or zealots snatching turf not theirs? Czar of lying, you're back in the game. Lick spittles flattering your whims and eager to cheer you when you say, noble experiment, you're fired. It doesn't suit the present climate. And there's no love lost in the killing fields. What the thunder says. A crack, a second, and a third splinter as the dam fractures, sound bolts spiking down through granite, a dynamite that means concussive rage, detonations battering skull, ribcage, spine, an earthquake high in the ramparts, stone ramparts blocking a sun, no longer strong enough to rise. The houses collapse, roof skews off to one side, a broken beam crushes doors, windows in its crazed veer, a drill screams into rooms to shiver walls, timbers, floor, ratcheting through the garden, spewing hoses of dirt, spinning flagstones into the air, while a tank that dies from a cloud flattens on impact. Whole quarries of rock shear off, tumble, smash, shock their way over the mountain, megatons of scattered booms, packed stack on the air, collapsing around your ears. And what the din sounds out is the last thought which already owns you and yours. Nothing holds off the thunderstone. It says, I am your death. This news item prompted the next poem, and here it is. In 2011, the children of Gaza set the world record for the most kites flown simultaneously. 11-year-old Raiwaya explained why she chose to make her kite the Palestinian flag. When I fly it, I feel like I'm raising my country and my flag up in the sky. Kite. Blood red, bone white, ink black, leaf green, they built me. I like my 8 sides more, much more than the coffin shape. 8 sticks at the edge and 8 spokes converging at the center where, even if tugged by stiff winds high above the sand dunes and breakers, I am tethered by a strong line. Back then, we soared in the thousands. One by one, the others, broken, ripped, were knocked down or just let go so that the sails flapped, staggered, whirled, and sank down, drowning in the sea. Sad. But despite bullet holes, tears, winds still float me, the string, my link to our land, where kites can't be built just now. I'll glide here till they can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alfred. I'm thrilled to introduce Audrey Roth. Audrey Roth's recent book is How to Live Under Fascism, Poems and Photographs, Black Widow Press, 2025. Please take it away, Audrey. He's
Andre, are you
mute.
having, yeah, I'm hitting S to unmute.
Yeah, I said this book is a manual, and Irina's river runs through this poem. News. You're the swan in Swan Lake at the Kirov. Then a swan trapped in ice is rescued by Ukrainian divers in Dnipro River. You would thank them, but the swan wing of the vigilant FSB will send you barefoot to Siberia to freeze in some lake or another. When the swans in Vienna are eaten by hungry immigrants, the Duma applauds. Rescuers save a 5-year-old stranded on an inflatable swan in Lake Michigan. Mother, please turn off the news. And a poem called, written really about the so-called end of history that didn't end there. The uses of the Berlin Wall. Everyone agrees that the old Berlin Wall was a congealed mass of putrefied vomit, and it stank to heaven. Oh, good riddance. And yet we must erect a new Berlin Wall between humans and the deep fakes we spew out of the uncanny valley ad astram. The old wall exacted a great price for blue jeans, used to practice je m'en fous, all exertion, no choice. I don't love shopping, it's exhausting. Nostalgia-imbued deep fakes confuse the animal hunting for something perilous, a purple language with meat in the vowels. C'est ça.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you. Thank you so much, Andre.
Sure.
I am thrilled to introduce Martine Belen. Martine Belen's most recent collection of poetry is An Anatomy of Curiosity, Mad Hat Press 2023, and her website is martinebelen.com. Please take it away, Martine.
Thank you, Larissa, and thank you all the readers and everyone who's here. And I'm really, really thrilled and moved to be part of this community and this one voice of many. I'm going to read a poem it's a triptych, but I'll read just the first and third poem, and it's references the Gullah Geechee people. I used Zora Neale Hurston's anthropological work when writing this poem. And the Gullah Geechee are peoples who, through resistance, preserved their West African traditions, which you'll see in the final poem. The word haint is used, and that a haint is if you don't know, is a ghost or an ill-meaning spirit. And it's a variant of the word haunt. It's used in the South, and it derives from the Gullah Geechee culture. So the first poem in the triptych is called Hainting. As the raging woman aged, she lost her anger and pager. After all, she bore a blue child who tricked her into thinking he was a perpetual ocean, couldn't be crossed. The son grew to be a stringer, and his mother, lost in May's mind, followed his every inscription, compelled by a spell to shadow his byline. In her kitchen cavity, mother chopped sprouts into slivers, and 5 more ghouls skinned and diced, scratching their heads with serrated teeth, an eye for a potato. In her bedroom alcove, mother furtively sips secret messages from blooming bottle trees. At Nacht, haints haunt her the heart, her windows shielded by saint stills and haint blue sills as she dresses before an anonymous mirror mask. And the third poem is Gullah Geechee Dream. Once enslaved West African Sea Islanders, owned by owners of indigo plantations, these titans of the dyeing industry retain expressions of heritage on an isolated archipelago with angry, hungry ghosts, rusting the sultry soil left by ancestors working out what it means to live with a deep root system, underground aerating organs to lead haints to one's next door, though roots can also be worn about the neck to redirect destiny, and raven feathers planted for the next crop of kids to find their way home through the horizontality of hours, through the fields of enslavement. This horror spreads like a novel virus we share. Unanimous night, inanimate dream flight past taciturn stars, filling the tiered sky with sleep. Perpetual ocean currents bend as earth breathes, our knees on its neck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martine. I'm very pleased to introduce Indran Amirthanayagam. Indran Amirthanayagam's latest books are El Bosque de Delite Fratricidas, RAL Editores, 2025, and Seer, Hanging Loose Press, 2024. Indran is a publisher of poetry at Beltway Editions, www.beltwayeditions.com, and writes the Substack indranmx.substack.com. Take it away, Indran.
Thank you so much, Larissa, for this invitation, for being part of this community, for making this community. Look, I'm in Lima, Peru at the moment, so I'm going to read one of my new poem in Spanish and then one poem in English. So the poem in Spanish is called Lectura un 11 de septiembre. El mensaje se nota al ritmo de los pasos en el bosque. Caminas más lento, tranquilo. No te preocupes si no has terminado la lectura. La terminarás en su momento. Y si no lo terminas nunca, al menos habrás formulado algunas preguntas en la salida hacia afuera, y así llegarás al fin del día. Aunque el libro, este que lees y aquel que escribes, nunca se terminarán, porque cada lectura y revisión resulta en nuevos detalles, nuevos descubrimientos. Así es la vida. No hay ni habrá un plato completo. No hay decisión definitiva. Cada momento es aprendizaje de lo incierto hecho cierto por un instante. Así caminas entre instantes mientras formulas tus preguntas. And, I too, thinking about the political killings in the United States, wrote the following, Men in the Afternoon. The man with the microphone feels strong, in control. He can call anybody passing by his tent, and the faithful gathered at his feet. This man, this leader, this hero, does not shy from defending the right to bear arms or opposing the female right to choose whether to bring the seed to term or to let it go. This man advocates for the king in charge on Pennsylvania Avenue. This man says, come, tell me what's on your mind. I can take any questions. I'm not afraid. This man could not stop a bullet fired by a man with a rifle. Perhaps now we can revisit the distribution of firearms in the United States, apply controls, save lives of others gathered under tents in the afternoon of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Indran. Thank you so much, Indran. I'm very pleased to introduce Gloria Mindak. Gloria Mindak is editor of Chervena Barva Press and an award-winning author of 6 books and 2 translated books. Take it away, Glo.
Thank you. And hi, everybody. I'm going to read 2 poems. The first one, Ways of Dying. A piece of hair killed her. A bomb blast killed him. Her protesting killed her. His politics killed him. Mutilation killed her. A knife wound killed him. Her disappearance killed her. Poison killed him. Suffocation killed her. A chokehold killed him. A gunshot killed her. An AK-47 killed him. Starvation killed her. A landmine killed him. A jail cell killed her. Torture killed him. Living in the wrong place killed her. Living in the wrong place killed him. War killed her. War killed him. And this next poem is called On the Fourth Day. Ukraine. Oksana witnesses a man being raped by a soldier. Serbia, Herzegovina. 20,000 women screamed. Iran. Malachi wore no headscarf when she sang. Georgia. Kataran said, "This president is not my president." Russia. Passports taken, so life will get rough for the Uzbeks. Syria. Dreams die for young girls. Georgia. Images of those beaten are hung on Christmas trees. Lebanon. Hezbollah will kidnap you. Russia. Visit the mafia in Moscow. Iran. 901 dissidents spoke out. USA. Biden is no longer president. USA. Now what? The world blind but waking up. They are coming for you with a weapon in apartment buildings and on the street, degrading you, stripping you of any justice. They are coming for you with a weapon, confiscating your body until dead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Glo. I'm very pleased to introduce Ngoma. Ngoma is a performance poet, multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter, artivist, and paradigm shifter who for over 50 years has used culture as a tool to raise socio-political and spiritual consciousness through work that encourages critical thought. Take it away, Ngoma.
Hey, thanks for having me, Larissa. This is really great. I'm really proud to be a part of this. I got this book. It's called "I Didn't Come Here to Tap Dance," and you can contact me. There's my stuff there in the chat. We shall not bow down to racism. We shall not bow down to injustice. We shall not bow down to oppression. What you gonna do? I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. Democracy. Teeter-totters on the precipice of our discontent. Put through the microscope of integrity, coming up deficient of honesty. As the college elects to misrepresent those crying out for proof that the so-called Constitution is constitutional. Not just archaic babble left over from centuries past, guarded by laughing gargoyles on the steps of justice. Apathy is the aching tooth of Dracula, fangs dripping Middle Eastern oil, as Fat Sam needs a colonic. 500 years of lies backed up in this Constitution. Conspiracy theories ignored, while those who disorder the new world wait for its deliverance to the gates of hell. We shall not bow down to racism. We We shall not bow down to injustice. We shall not bow down to exploitation. What you gonna do? I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. Peace, y'all.
Thank you so much, Ngoma. All right, I am very pleased to introduce a member of the Writing Resilience Workshop. Christine Alessi is a native of New Jersey who is a pianist and writes poetry and prose. Take it away, Christine.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. Woke. I am not woke. I was never asleep. On the outside I pass, inside is the freak. Pre-row mistake, jettisoned from a hostile womb in the city. Alien shipped to a suburban tribe by the sea. Tiny lamb to the slaughter, a vigilant insomniac, one eye open all the time, tap dancing around wolves. My hair, kinky curly, mom slicked it back first, brushed it fiercely, yanked out large hunks, then cut it off in fat chunks. She dressed me like a China doll in the fanciest of clothes that were way, way too tight, and kids at school othered me. My fingers on the Steinway, pudgy and strong, were wanton and amorous, my breasts and body lush and full. The music I craved was not European. I wanted jazz, blues, the zither. I felt the drums beating. They thrummed through me electric. I am not woke. I dreamt eyes open, to be rootless and roam like a Bedouin, belly dance, barter for spices and soups, swim naked in the salty water, free. I heard the birds harmonizing in the breezy trees' leafy shade. I wasn't lonely. I was fantasticizing. I am not woke. I have never slept. I ranted and raved when it wasn't chic. Cross-legged protests, solitary confinement, hunger strikes in my bedroom sanctuary for Native Americans, African Americans, the vulnerable, women's rights, the victims of the Shoah, for the end to wars. Full stop. I am not woke. I have seen the forest for the trees. When I brought up genocide at Thanksgiving dinner, sprinkled with a dash of smallpox, cultural decimation and rape to the tune of open mouths, the clank of dropped flatware and mom's rapid breathing, I was banished to my bedroom. I am not woke. I have peered into the abyss. In catechism, I pointed out that Jesus never claimed to be the Son of God. He was a rabbi, and the Last Supper was a Seder. I was kicked out, and the bishop refused to confirm me. Confirm what? I asked. That your doctrine and dogma is a load of crap? Dad paid him off. Woke? Oh, please. The battles I fought without weapons, racial and ethnic slurs bandied about at family parties while I tried to fend off my perverted uncles and cousins. Hate speech in the high school hallways. I was stuffed in lockers, my books torn apart and scattered on the floor, hung on the gym doors by my bra straps. I am not woke. I was eyes wide open when my crazy cousin brought a loaded shotgun to Christmas dinner and threatened to kill us all. It was never mentioned again. Body positivity? I was FAT, and everyone made sure I knew it. There was nowhere to post about my bulimia. It was just ignored. When I was raped, there was no hashtag Me Too. It was just me. Mom said it was my fault. The subsequent abortion crushed me because therapy was for crazy people. I spent my life doing everything because I had to, not because I wanted to. I was a girl. My options were limited. Hear me. Hear me. Hear me. The struggle is real. I am not woke. I have never slept.
Thank you, Chris. Is Sandra Clevin here, Jonathan?
I don't see her, which surprises me, but yeah, I don't see her.
She comes from Alaska, so
Mhm.
maybe we got the times. How about Cynthia Steele,
Let me see.
also from Alaska?
No, sorry.
I'm so sorry not to hear them.
Well,
As I said,
I'll try to contact them. Okay.
all right, would you see if they can come in a little later? That would be wonderful. Thank you, Martha. All right, I'm pleased to introduce Susan Oringel, who is a published poet, a writer, teacher, and practicing psychologist in Albany, New York. Take it away, Sue.
Sue, I've asked you to unmute.
Okay, thank you. Um, hmm, Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to read a prose poem, I Remember. And the epigraph is, I am blessed by remembering. The Daily Word, September 10th, 2025. I remember Don's tenor voice and his pet name for me, Docky. I remember how I grieve for my dying garden, go buy a bunch of discounted perennials, and finally get them into the ground for the next growing season. I remember autumn's brilliance in the Northeast, the trees and bushes aflame, the chartreuse, red and golds, the lovely autumnal hush, and the swooping flights of birds to warmer quarters. I remember there are people I love who still live on this earth, some of whom have known me for over 60 years. Yesterday, I was hungry after golf, but needed to get to the allergist, but found an unopened bottle of protein drink in the chaos on the floor of my car's back seat. I remember my country had a Bill of Rights that included only men, mostly wealthy landowners, and that through patience, stubbornness, and persistence, people marched and fought for the inclusion of women, people of color, and those born elsewhere. I remember that change is hard and takes time, any change, good or bad. I remember my parents, my endless doctor visits as a child, the bullies in high school, and my physical awkwardness told me I was clumsy and sickly. But I also remember I am going on 7 years free of bladder cancer. I remember that when I exercise, eat healthy, and take time to quiet myself, I feel centered, whole, and strong. I lost my front teeth in 2nd grade and for a time walked around like a human jack-o'-lantern. I remember Uncle Murray, who was tall and handsome and who played endless games of make-believe restaurant, pretending to sip out of teacups with us when we visited family in Brooklyn. I remember I had a terrible crush on him as a young teen, and then he left Crazy Aunt Muriel to go live with one of his Fuller Brush customers. I grieve the coming of autumn, but then get interested in making hot food and decorating indoors. I remember that has become my life's work, to remember and help others remember through doing psychotherapy and through my writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Is Raymond Nat Turner in the house, Jonathan?
Yes, he's with Ziggy. I'm
He's
unmuted.
with-
Oh, wonderful. Special surprise guest, the town crier Raymond Nat Turner is artistic director of the stalwart jazz poetry ensemble Upsurge NYC and poet in residence at Black Agenda Report. Take it away, Raymond.
Okay, thank you, Larissa. Pleased to be with all of you. Probably everyone on this Zoom knows that a very important department in the United States of America has been renamed. So anyway, this piece is called Department of War. What's new is so old. Epigraph, quote, war is only a cowardly escape from the problems of peace, end quote. Thomas Mann. Slaughtering Seneca, Seminole, slaughtering Creek, Choctaw, Mohawk, Cayuga, Blackfeet, like some demonic Department of War. It was always Department of War. Slaughtering Sioux, Shawnee, Chickasaw, slaughtering Chippewa, Lakota, Ohlone, like some demonic Department of War. It was always Department of War. Capturing bodies and looting labor of Ashanti, Fulani, Hausa, Wolof, Yoruba, Igbo, Congo, Mongo, Hutu, Zulu, like some demonic Department of War. It was always Department of War. Great oceans east and west, friendly neighbors north and south. Department of Defense never made sense. It was always Department of War. It was always Department of War, always class war with Oval Office in Warhouse, class war with Capitalist Hill, class war with white Supreme courtesans in revealing Black robes. Does dull thud of boot heels goose-stepping down DC streets to Dixie surprise you? Have you been attaching Foxbox electrodes to skull, stuffing pizza hole, self-lobotomizing for decades on the Lazy Boy? It was always Department of Cookbooks, Department of Can't Pass an Audit, Department of Greasy Thumb Grifters, always Department of $500 hammers and $10 pencils, billed as impact fasteners and portable handheld transcribing devices on our dime. It was always Luftwaffe dropping 2,000-pound bombs on hospitals and homes, making pools of blood bloom from babies' heads and rechristening children, civilian casualty and collateral damage with lethal lies. It was always Wehrmacht with nightmarish music of moans, hair-raising, heart-pounding shrieks, with unlimited capacity for cruelty and savagery, like cutting off fingers of fallen fighters for souvenirs and urinating on their bodies. It was always Confederacy, champions of chains and whips, bloodthirsty warfare state unleashed on neighbors and inhabitants alike. It is also glorious Technicolor dream. Will we rise realizing it, or will we fall presenting Nobel War Prize to traitor pedophile Führer? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.